Welcome to our inaugural edition of HelloMD Advisor Live, our weekly news segment on the news, culture, and curiosities in cannabis. I'm Pamela Hadfield.
And I'm Dr. Perry Solomon, and we have some terrific stories for you today. Pamela, what do we have?
Well, today we're going to talk about, starting off, the Kosher Kush.
Kosher Kush, great name for a terrific story. The head of the Orthodox religion in Israel, Rabbi Kanievsky, just recently, and just in time for Passover, was able to say that evaluate cannabis and say now it is kosher to be able to consume medicinally for Passover.
And we're in the middle of Passover, aren't we?
We are in the middle of Passover, and previously to him being able to do that, cannabis is labeled a kitniot, which is the same family as legumes and grains, and up until now, people who took it medicinally were just not able to take their medicine during the Passover, the 10 days of Passover.
So this is interesting for two reasons. He's an ultra-Orthodox Jew, and he's saying it's okay to partake in cannabis not only in Passover, but year long. And also that there are so many Jewish people that must need medicinal cannabis.
It's one of the big. Israel's one of the biggest places in the world, countries in the world, where the conditions are such that there are a large amount of people who use cannabis medicinally, and now they can. So they have a very, very happy 420 Passover for the first time.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, moving on to the medicating bard. Shakespeare died over 400 years ago.
He's got and the stories and plays are still being shown today.
Absolutely. And apparently a team at one of the universities in South Africa did a forensic analysis of one of his pipes, and they found out that he not only smoked cannabis, but he also used cocaine.
Are you telling me that's how he got the inspiration for A Midsummer's Night Dream?
I'm not sure about that, Perry, but he obviously got creative inspiration from cannabis. And they think that he had to go far afield to get it. So it was not easy for him to actually medicate in the ways that we are today.
Because it's not well-known. You can't really grow, or very difficult to grow cannabis in England, cold and wet climate.
Yeah, so apparently he was either brought to him or he traveled far afield to get it.
Well, that's true. Maybe people liked his story so much they said, whatever it takes for you to finish these and write more, have at it.
Perhaps. All right. And so on to the yummy gummies. What's happening in Colorado with gummy bears, Perry?
Well, there's always a problem, or people perceive there's a problem with gummies or any kind of edibles being harmful to children, eating it. And even though there's only 3 to 4 admissions per year of children eating cannabis, the legislature in Colorado felt that they needed to do something. So the first time they tried to pass this law, they wanted to ban gummies whatsoever in every shape, and they weren't able to do that. And so they wound up picking, for some reason, animals, fruits, and people shaped to be the ones that are banned. Now, cannabis can be in chocolate, in brownies, any other type of food, but for some reason they feel that the children will just not eat those 3 shapes. Now, we all know that the main thing is for parents to keep this away from children in any shape.
Right. Well, and edibles are a big problem for this, but the onus is really on the people that take the edibles into their home. You need to lock them up because edibles they span every different kind of shape and every different kind of food. So if you have an edible and it's at your home, lock it up.
Take some responsibility for your children and keep these away, whether it's in a brownie, a chocolate, shaped of a gummy, any shape. It doesn't make any difference. If you take it, that's fine for medicinal reasons, and if not, just keep everything away from children.
Great. All right, so on to something that's near and dear to our heart. So the DEA just recently announced that they are going to support a clinical trial around cannabis and studying that on our vets who have PTSD.
And it's the first time that the United States is able to run a study like this. Sue Sisley, who was fired from the University of Arizona trying to get this study done, now has the approval, and between her at the University of Colorado Medical School and University of Pennsylvania Medical School will take 73 vets and do clinical trials on them to document that cannabis actually works for the vets, which they take anyway, and it's one of the indications in California that they can get the cannabis for also.
Well, this is huge because we have 22 vets a day in the United States who commit suicide. And what's being shown, anecdotally at least, is that cannabis is one of the best treatments for PTSD.
And up until now, even now, the vets can't talk about it with their VA doctor. So a vet comes in, isn't that ridiculous? They come in, they say, either I'm taking cannabis or I'd like to take cannabis because I heard it works. Talk to me about it. Can you write me a recommendation? And by law, they can't even do that.
Well, hopefully we get the results that we want out of this clinical trial. And Sue Sisley has definitely been added to the Cannabis Hero of the Year.
She's a star in our book for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so on to our curiosity, the Weedicure.
What is the Weedicure, please?
So a nail salon down in Santa Clara, California called Orchid Nail Salon has pioneered the Weedicure, which is crushing up cannabis, putting it on women's nails, and then lacquering over it. And you might even have a glitter sheen on top.
Wait, so is that so that they stop biting their nails, or that is an indication to bite their fingernails?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with biting fingernails, but I do think it's a statement. It's a statement of your passion for cannabis. It might be a political statement, whatever it is. But people were coming into the nail salon and wanting to have cannabis leaves on their nails. Apparently, it was looking too cartoonish, and so they went forward and decided to start crushing it up and lacquering it on.
Now, are pedicures next?
I'm not sure. So, on to our last segment, and this is called What Were They Smoking?
What is that about?
Well, what were they smoking? Because apparently a young man in Florida was involved in a drive-by shooting. He was walking down the road, a car came alongside of him, shot at him 10 times, shot him in the leg, and he went to the police and said, "These people shot at me."
What did they find? What was the reason for this?
Well, exactly. There's usually a reason why these things happen. Well, apparently, just minutes before, he had tried to sell the same car full of people some cannabis inside of a mason jar and charged them $120, and they had paid for it, but they had actually bought lawn clippings, grass clippings.
Wait, like you mow your lawn?
Mow your lawn. Something an 8-year-old might get away with.
So in other words, if you do something so stupid, then you really don't do it to somebody who has a gun and they living in Florida?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and those
probably
two
a wise
things
move.
often go together.
That sounds like a wise move on not to do that, and to be careful who you sell it to.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week for our weekly news segment. Thank you.
Thank you.